All right. Well, welcome everybody. This is the Beaufort Regional Chamber's Lunch and Learn series. Our topic today is lighting incentives for businesses. This is a session designed to present a great savings opportunity that many businesses take advantage of and some already have. Kind of a demystifying opportunity so people could ask questions and learn. We're really happy to have a great lineup of folks with us today. Joe Russell from LED Low Country will give us kind of an overview to begin with. Then we're going to hear a little bit from Dominion Energy's Small Business Energy Solutions team and their Commercial Energy Wise team. I think both Mary and Cindy from Dominion Energy will help give us a little bit of an overview of their program and other opportunities for small businesses or for businesses of any size for that matter. And then we do have two folks who've already taken advantage of the LED energy efficiency program, lighting incentives program on the line with us as well. Barry Wilson from Alpha Graphics and Catherine Gill from FWDG, a great furniture retailer and chamber member. And then we'll open it up for some questions from anybody who's on the line and is curious about how their business might be able to save a few bucks and be more green and cost efficient in the process. So thank everybody, all of our panelists and all the members who jumped on today. We are recording this for the benefit of members who aren't able to watch live. Joel, you want to give us kind of a quick overview to set the stage before we dive in?
Yeah, sure do. I really appreciate and I appreciate the Beaufort Chamber of Commerce and the role in which they're playing to help not only local businesses to promote their businesses, particularly during this time of pandemic and some of the uncertainties, but also to host meetings such as this. Yeah, I am Joel Rudisil from LED Low Country. I'm the owner of LED Low Country. We're local. I've lived in Beaufort for 14 years in the county of Beaufort, and started LED Low Country in 2013. And it was started it for one reason, because the numbers were math and the numbers worked. We could take traditional lighting and we convert it and change it to energy efficient LED, and even back in 2013, the math worked. So for me, it made sense as a business enterprise, because there weren't many people, frankly, within our region, and still aren't today, that are doing what we do. We're a turnkey installation, furnish and install company, which means we're there from start to finish, from the time that we take a look and see what you currently have, do the math on what you have, make some recommendations, and then we're there for the installation and then beyond. And I think part of the important part, the beyond part, because as you know, I mean, it's technology that works well, but sometimes they're on it. So we're there and we're still here in the marketplace, and we take care of a fixture that happens to go out, particularly before warranty comes up. And so the kinds of projects that we do are anywhere from small projects, it's all small projects, to large commercial projects here within our region. We have done, when I look at the numbers, we've done in Beaufort County over 100 different commercial enterprises. I've done many of the gated communities up and down the 278 corridor. And also you get up into the more of the Beaufort area. Of note, we did the Beaufort water treatment facility. We did their headquarters, as well as 4 of their processing facilities. And if you look at larger projects down into the Palmetto Bluff area, we did put in over 12,000 lights throughout their campus. So those are the larger projects which tie into a larger program that Dominion offers in terms of incentive. And we started working with Dominion and their small business, by their definition, small business projects over a year ago. And we have continued to install, frankly, several a week. And it's a very active because it is such a robust rebate program and incentives for the customer that owns the business to make that kind of a decision, even during the times in which we live and operate. So with that, rather than my continuing on at this point, I'm here to answer questions. I want to turn it over to Dominion because they're the keepers of not only the checkbook, but they're also the keepers of the numbers and the decision making as to why they do what they do and how they go about doing it. So with that, I'll turn it over to Cindy Cardona that I work very closely with in the small business program, as well as Mary. Great to see you again, Mary, and we do the larger projects together. So with that, Cindy.
Thank you, Joel. And before we get started, can I gain control of Zoom?
You should be in control now.
Okay, great. All right, so, oh, it's now giving me all questions about if I want to let people in. Sorry, got distracted on that. All right, so yes, we're here to talk about Dominion Energy's Energy Wise for Your Business Solutions Program and Small Business Energy Solutions Program. But before we get started, I wanted to touch on energy and what it means to you. What does it really mean to you? I mean, really, I think for most of us, it's money just going out the window. It's just another bill that comes in the mail, just another expense as a business. And we can definitely feel your pain when we take into consideration the cost per square foot when it comes to energy spend. As we can see here for food sales, service, business types, the cost of energy per square foot is about $4.50. And for the majority types of businesses that we see in our program, the small business program, retail, office spaces, we see that their energy spend per square foot is over $1. You know, it goes anywhere from $1.50 all the way to $2 per square foot. So where does all that money end up going to? Is it just space, or where is it truly going? About 44% of your bill is going to heating and cooling. I know that most of the audience here is in the Beaufort area, and heating is like almost non-existent. I feel like most of it is cooling, but still, you know, 44% of what you're paying is going towards that, and then about 10% is going towards lighting, and you can see the remaining portion on the pie chart. But those two things, I think most of us would agree that make up how how we feel in our business, how comfortable we feel, what our business looks like. And so it's not just, you know, the money that we're spending on energy, but it's also how it's impacting our business overall, right? So what can you do to help put more money in your pocket, help your business, you know, have better comfort, and hopefully maybe even look better? Well, energy efficiency has a lot to do with that, and that's what these programs are about. And I know some of you are probably asking, like, why is it important for Dominion Energy to lower my light bill? Well, it's cheaper for us to invest in reducing energy than it is to invest in producing more energy. And I know that at this moment in time, I do believe that, you know, carbon offsetting, what your carbon footprint, all of those things are coming more and more in the forefront of the business entrepreneur mind. So with that said, I'm going to hand it over to Mary, and she's going to discuss in a very high level the Energy Wise for Your Business program offerings to us.
Thank you, Cindy. Good afternoon. Thank you for having us here today to discuss our programs for our non-residential customers that use electricity. This is a demand side management program, which is just for electricity only. The Energy Wise for Your Business program is for our larger customers that are commercial and industrial type of customers. And it's a flexible type of program where the customer can do the installation and the ordering and purchasing of equipment in-house, or they could hire a contractor to do the work for them. So it's flexible in the means that you don't have to go with a contractor. If you have the capabilities in-house, then you can do the work in-house instead of hiring a contractor. So there's been significant impact since the inception of 2011 for this program. We have had significant savings, as you can see. The savings equate to the energy usage of over 30,000 residential homes. That's a great amount of energy that has been saved. And we are very happy with that, but we're always wanting to get more participation in our program and garner more energy savings. Right now, to date, City of Beaufort has had about a little bit over 200 projects in this program with about 1.34 million in incentives. That equates to about 4% of the overall projects that we have completed to this date. Next slide, please. Eligibility, it's available to all non-residential electric customers. That would be commercial and industrial customers. Pre-approval is required for most of our applications. Once you do receive the pre-approval, then the commitment is valued for 180 days for a retrofit type of project or 1 year for new construction. Next slide, please. For retrofit lighting, this picture depicts a before and after visual. The before is on the right-hand side, and that's 400-watt metal halides, and you can see the yellow color and the lack of lumen output. On the left-hand side is new LED type of light fixtures. You can depict the clarity and how nice that setting is versus the right side, the before type of existing type of light fixtures. For lighting retrofits, we give 35 cents per watt reduced. We have LED exit signs that we give $10 per sign. There's occupancy control sensors as well. And for example, we give $15 per control for a wall switch replacement. We also have new construction major renovation incentives, and that is 40 cents per watt reduced. It needs to have a 15% less than code for the lighting power density. It's also, the incentive is also capped at $30 per fixture. For our new construction exterior lighting, it's considered custom, and so therefore you would need to get in touch with us so that we could get you through the process for the custom application. Next slide, please. Thank you. We have unitary HVAC incentives, which include the smaller unitary HVACs and then our chillers as well. A unitary HVAC would include a package split system or a heat pump, as well as our through-the-wall type of packaged smaller units that are for hotels, for example. The incentive, if it's less than $5,000, then pre-approval is not required. If you have an emergency and you need to replace a 5-ton unit, then we would allow it to be done as long as the project is submitted and it's within 60 days of the invoice date. All these incentives are based upon a dollar amount per ton, and it's on a requirement of the energy efficiency for those units. Next slide, please. Food service type of equipment also has the caveat of not requiring pre-approval if the incentive is less than $1,000. Again, the application, the project would need to be submitted with the supporting documentations within 60 days of the invoice date. It is based again on an incentive amount per unit. and it varies depending upon the type of equipment that is being purchased as far as the size and quantities. As Cindy stated earlier, food services uses about 2.5 times more energy than other businesses, that $4.50. So they definitely have a higher energy use intensity, and it costs more to run these kitchens. So this is very attractive, should be very attractive for the restaurant type of businesses. Next slide, please. Custom incentives include these type of projects, and it's best for you to get in touch with us because it takes detailed energy analysis for these custom projects. There is not a determined dollar amount per unit, and therefore we have to get a detailed energy analysis plus the detailed cost as well for the project to determine if it is cost effective and we can pre-approve it. Next slide, please. We have an incentive cap for this program. It's $100,000 per program year. It's per customer tax ID. If another entity is receiving the cap, such as a contractor, we still track it to the customer's federal tax ID. So there are some exceptions to the $100,000 cap if it's a bigger business and they have multiple campuses and businesses, such as a university. Next slide, please. Oh, and it's back up to you, Cindy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. And we will definitely send out a PDF version of the slide deck too for reference. But thank you, Mary, for all of that information. Now to the headliner of the hour, the Small Business Energy Solutions Program. I love small businesses. I have been doing small business programs since 2015. I was with a different utility and now I'm with Dominion. Small business programs have a very large impact. Not as large as the large program, but still very, very good footprint. We've paid over $9.2 million in incentive money since inception to customers to improve their lighting and become more energy efficient, which equates to about 51 million miles being offsetted off the roads. So, you know, the program definitely is high savings, even though it might be smaller incentive monies than what the larger program does. So what is the Small Business Energy Solutions Program? Well, we pay 90% of the total costs to help you change your lighting to LED, but we do have an incentive cap of $6,000. And the offerings that we have are energy efficient lighting and refrigeration measures as well. It is a turnkey program. It's a set list of measures that are covered under the program. Excuse me, I have to cough. Sorry, y'all. I don't know how to mute it. So to be eligible for the program, you are eligible as long as you don't have more than 5 accounts under the same customer name. And that you're not consuming more than 350,000 kilowatt hours per year per account. And we would like for you to have at least 6 months of service at the premise before you participate in the program. So that would kind of require approval at that point. What is covered under the small business program for lighting? We have a large portfolio of measures, anywhere from a retrofit application where we just replace the T12s or T8s that you currently have with linear LED lamps and replace your ballast. We have screw-in lamps. We are now carrying the stylish, very much on-trend Edison style lamps for candelabras and torpedo type of lamps as well. And we do offer new fixtures where necessary for recess lights, or say you have a shop, automotive shop, we replace those, and exterior lights and so forth. If you are a customer who has a convenience store or a restaurant, we do offer changing out the walk-in motors in the walk-in coolers or freezers to energy efficient motors, which are called ECN motors. We can also control your door heaters, which are kind of like heat strips that are part of your cooler doors. And we also replaced the lighting in the cooler doors as well, and offer controls for coolers as well. So on the call today, we do have FDWG with us, and they are actually a recent program participant. They just finished their first phase project in August, and they are looking to save about over $3,000 per year. They were a project that was at the incentive cap. You know, they reached the $6,000, but they still chose to participate in the program and go over that incentive cap. So instead of the incentive being 90%, it came out to being, yeah, don't quote me on my math. What is that? 40%? I don't know. But it wasn't 90%, but they still benefited it. I mean, you can see the return on investment was it's about roughly 1.1, 1.2 years. And now we're gonna let Catherine speak to us about the before and after pictures that we see here. Go ahead.
Thanks, Cindy. This is one of our suites, and as you can see on the left, it's dim. There is a yellow cast, and you know, in marketing, I try to make the furniture look as good as possible. So the most immediate impact that we had was this bright, fresh sunlight-like light in the room, and the customers noticed it immediately. We are so new at the program, I can't quote savings yet, but we're very hopeful about that. The process was super straightforward. They came and investigated everything. We have about a 48,000 square foot showroom, so it's a large, massive space. And we went through the approval process, and everything was very clearly explained to us. The folks that came and did the installation were super professional. It didn't disturb any of our business going on, didn't interrupt the customers at all. So it all went very smoothly. We're very happy with it.
Well, I'm so glad to hear that. And yes, I do agree the space looks amazing. And LED Low Country was the installing contractor for this project, since the business is in the Beaufort area. We also have Alpha Graphics on the call with us. They didn't necessarily go through the process with us. It was a customer before them whom they purchased the building from. But you can see here how bright it is in this space. This application, when Joel sent me the pictures, I thought they were new fixtures, and he was like, no, we did retrofit. Because I was like, I specified for a retrofit, but they almost look like new fixtures because of how good these lamps, you know, distribute the light, and the light output is just amazing. You can see the colors are just great. Barry, did you want to speak
Sure.
a little bit about it?
Sure. Yeah. Can you guys hear me okay? So we can do a sound check.
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually sitting in the room there. That's the picture to the right. And that's a new piece of equipment we added after we bought. So the lighting in this room is very important. We purchased Merv Printing, my wife and I did, April 1st. So this was a project that was done just before us. And we remember walking into this building probably in October of last year, and it was fluorescent lights, and we don't have a lot of windows except for up front in the lobby. And so it was kind of dark, kind of that yellowish light that you had shown in the pictures before. And then the lighting was changed to the LED, and Joel had to tell you exactly when. I think it was maybe January, something like that, end of the year. But it made a big difference the next time we walked in. We immediately noticed it. Now we've done some, changed up the lobby and refreshed. But going back to the room that I'm sitting in, our business is that we're a printing business. So we're printing and a marketing design business. And it's very important to have the best natural lighting for evaluating color. And clients really expect, the color to be right on. And we were told by Ricoh, and Ricoh, you guys are probably familiar with the brand name. So a lot of our new equipment, including that machine, was installed by Ricoh, and they have told us, they test the lighting in the place, that this is the closest to the best, closest to the perfect lighting for what we do. My understanding from the previous owner too is that the process was easy, simple. It was very little disruption in the workplace. And from what I can understand in terms of cost savings, it's probably about 20, maybe 25 or 30% in monthly savings compared our power bills compared to prior installation. But I can tell you that just walking through this place, it makes the LED lighting makes a big difference. And I've seen this happen before. We moved here from outside of the Charlotte area. We were involved in a side business of racing, and I'd seen where there was a race shop that was had switched over all their lighting to LED. It was the first experience I had with noticing such a difference when you do this in the business place. But anyone is free, feel free to stop in and take a look at the place if you'd like, and we'll show you how bright it is compared to how few windows we have throughout our offices here. But the employees, we have the same staff that was here before, and they can attest to what a difference that it makes.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Barry. And in the lighting industry, there's a saying, seeing is believing. So I think we can see in the pictures it definitely is, speaks true to that. So I didn't go too much into how do you participate with the program. I will touch on it just quickly here, but if you guys have questions, you can always reach out to us through these emails. And our contact information is on the last page of the deck. But for the small business program, you can reach out directly to me or Joel. Joel basically puts in the request to me. I go out and I am the person that physically comes out and counts your lights and is able to produce the customer report that shows you how much Dominion will pay, what your portion would be, and what your return on investment, your expected return on investment is as well. So either one of us, if you reach out to either one of us, we'll get it. We'll get you scheduled, type of thing. So now I am done with my part. Thank you so much, everyone. And if you guys have questions, feel free to ask as well.
Thank you very much, Cindy. I would flip it to Ian so that he can see if there are questions from those that are on the call with us here this afternoon. We'd be happy to try and answer them for you.
Yeah, thanks, Joel, Cindy. It was a very clear and straightforward presentation. Would welcome questions from anybody, either verbally or via chat. If you want to pop a question into the chat box, please do that. If you'd like to ask one live, raise your hand or unmute yourself and speak up. But the question that came to me, you started to address there at the end. How does one initiate this? I know we contact you all. Could you kind of talk maybe about the ideal sort of customer? I mean, what kind of business is most likely to enjoy the most quick return on the investment they're making and have the least amount of out-of-pocket expense by making this kind of an upgrade?
Sure. So if you're a business that's open 40 hours or more, per week, and when I say open, I mean that your lights are on, because that's where we base the the return on investment piece of it. I go through each room and I say, well, these lights are on usually from what hours to what hours to keep the savings as true as possible. If you're a customer who has the older type of lighting, which is the big fat round T12s, you're going to see a quicker return than a customer who has the skinnier T8 lamps. But just to give you guys a rough idea, the T12 lamp uses, if you're in a retail office setting, that's a 2x4 fixture, that lamp is using 40 watts per lamp or bulb, and the T8 is using 32. And what we did in Alpha Graphics, we brought it down to 10 watts per lamp. So it's about a 75% reduction, regardless if you have a T12 or a T8 in wattage. But we're still giving you the right amount of lumen output, meaning light that you need in there. If you're a retail or restaurant, that has screw-in lamps, you know, usually that lamp is going to be using 60 watts, and we can reduce that down to 9. And if it's a candelabra, the candelabra lamp is usually going to use like 40 or 50 watts, and we can bring that down to 4. Joel, we just did Panini's there on Bay Street, and that's exactly what happened. You know, we reduced it. He has a bunch of candelabras, and we put in 4-watt candelabra lamps all throughout the facility. And the biggest feedback that we always get is how much better the place looks. I'm always happy to hear about the savings. The savings, I will, you know, full disclosure, the saving, if your lighting is not in good condition, you know, will you still see savings? Yeah, you'll still see savings, but it may not be as much as what we're saying. But either way, you know, if you are a project that is at incentive gap, meaning at $6,000, that means that your total project cost is $6,666. Dominion is paying $6,000, so your out of pocket is $666 plus taxes. And that type of project is gonna be, you know, you're gonna have over 50 fixtures. So our average project size is about $3,300 in incentive. So, you know, you're looking at, what is that, $200 out of pocket to get your lighting changed out, have better lighting distribution, show your product out better, and save on your bill as well.
And so Cindy, is the incentive paid back on the power bills, or does the business enjoy savings on the power bill beginning immediately after the lights are installed?
Right. So the savings is pretty much from the moment that, you know, the full change out has been executed. You know, we took out a fixture that was using 170 watts, and we put one in that's only using 40 watts. That's pretty immediate. But you would, you know, when will FDWG be able to see their savings? It's hard a little bit because we're in the transition of cooling. We're still in the cooling season, so they've got, you know, heating and cooling load on that bill still. When we come into October, November, that's when they should be able to see a good difference from that bill to the prior year bill, because that's the off months. Those are the months that pretty much carry lighting, office equipment usage, anything on the left side of that pie chart that we saw earlier on there. So let me back up just a minute to like the process of how this would go. You know, you guys would reach out to me, or you would reach out to Joel. I would reach back out to you if I didn't answer you right away, and set up an appointment. The assessment usually takes no more than 30 minutes, give or take, unless you're a large facility like FDWG. But I think they took me like an hour and a half or so, but I walked the whole facility. But if you're a retail space, 15, 30 minutes stop. And right then and there, I'm able to provide you with numbers of, you know, this is what Dominion pays and what your out of pocket is.
Sandy,
Thanks,
one
Raymond.
thing that I'd like to add real quick, though, talking about HVAC and heat and stuff, but these LED lights throw off a lot less heat, right? And in our business here, we have a lot of equipment that throws off heat. So that made a big difference by reducing the heat that those fluorescents were throwing off. Now we don't, it's much more comfortable in our space, and it actually doesn't take as much to cool our space now that we've reduced that heat, even though with the equipment we have that also produces heat.
That's right. That's that added benefit of lighting. Now, do we calculate that into the savings? No, but that is something that, yes, most customers do report back that, and they see greater savings than what we projected because of what you just mentioned. And your space, you know, you have lower ceilings, so you were feeling that heat a lot more. And then plus, like you mentioned, you had all these other equipment putting off heat, which makes it a little bit unbearable at times. So yeah, that's that added benefit of replacing these lighting fixtures, because they do put out a ton more heat. Now, does LED not put out any heat? They still put out a little bit of heat, but it's still, you know, like 50%, 75% less than what that other lighting bulb lamp style was.
Well, this sounds like one of those no-brainer kinds of deals, which was exactly how you set it up at the very beginning. The math just works. I've yet to get a question in the chat. I would invite one more time if there's anybody on the line who would like to ask a question live. This is your opportunity. Please do so.
Hi, this is Paul Dolan.
Please go ahead, Paul.
Is this incentive program available for county government buildings, or is it restricted to privately owned businesses?
So it goes back to if you have more than 5 accounts under the same customer name. So if you have more than 5 accounts under the same customer name, you may not be eligible. Now I know that I think the fire department of Burton, they do qualify. There may be some buildings like this just say that may qualify. So you'd have to just reach out, give me the address, and I can look it up and see if you're on our eligibility list. If you're not on our eligibility list, then the larger program would be the one that you would go through, the Energy Wise for Your Business, which pays the 35 cents per watt reduced incentive.
Okay, so I could send, well, we're the Beaufort County Airport, so not get any subsidies from the county whatsoever. We're totally self-sufficient, so I'm going to guess that we would hopefully qualify.
Yeah, so right, I just send me the address and I'll look you up and I'll see if you're on the eligibility list, because then the other portions of it is the 350,000 kilowatt hours per year, as long as you're not over on that.
I'll send you the information.
Okay, great.
Thank you for jumping in, Paul. Other questions? Seeing and hearing none, I think we'll turn it back over for kind of the closing word. Joel, you kind of helped inspire this. I'd welcome any comments from any other panelists, but do you want to kind of round us out?
Sure, I'd love to. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. As you said, this has been recorded. And when Cindy talks about eligibility, that eligibility that she's referring to is the small business program. And when you get over into that 35 cents, you go, what in the world could that amount to, 35 cents? Well, it can move up to 50% of the total project cost, capping at that $100,000. We can turn into real money very quickly. And the 2 larger projects, those were pushing up against that 50% of total project cost. And what that does for the customers, it drives the economics to the point where they go, this does make an awful lot of sense. Because the other thing, it seems like it's not taken into account as well. What about my savings from an operational standpoint, from maintenance standpoint? Well, if you don't have guys going out and changing out burned out light bulbs and fixtures and so forth, some of these things are tough to get to. So you eliminate that cost in that personnel, and that can turn into an incentive, and we can quantify it, an incentive that may equal the electric savings. So that's another piece of the component. Back to the piece about what's the percentage savings on the heat load. Engineering has shown us that in South Carolina, that number actually results in a 4.1% savings across the board because of reduced heat from LED fixtures across the board. So it's an interesting way to look at it because it will affect your economics. And when you get into, if you're larger, when you get into a CapEx kind of decision-making process, these are all important factors when considering it. So with that, I just thank Dominion for the work that they do. I get an opportunity to get out and visit with customers and do the installations and see the results of their work as well as our work, and then the follow-up. And what I like about it is, as a businessman, it's a product that typically where I never have to look back. I never have to look back because I know that behind me, I've got a satisfied customer. So I appreciate the opportunity today, Ian, and working with the chamber.
Joel, thank you. Mary, we thank you both for being on and supporting And also Barry and Catherine, great to have Alpha Graphics and FWDG represented from kind of the business owner perspective. Bottom line, folks, if you're interested in improving your lighting, saving some money, and maybe coming out of pocket very, very, very little to do those things, follow up with one of the folks on the line, and I think they'll get you connected. Thank you for participating in today's Lunch and Learn. Well, we do appreciate all of your involvement and membership and support of the Beaufort Regional Chamber of Commerce. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.